After hitting Bryce Canyon for sunrise, we headed to Capital Reef. The two shortest routes to Capital Reef were not very short. We went west to get there and came back on the southern route. Let me tell you, there are few highways in southern Utah, and that is why we carried our 2020 Rand McNally Road Atlas. Sometimes it's nice to have a paper map to look at. If you can find one now, good luck. On the way up Highway 89, we passed Butch Cassidy's boyhood home. We didn't stop there, but we did stop for breakfast at the Butch Cassidy Hideout Cafe in a little town called Circleville. Perfect. While checking with the waitress, we determined the road that would save us miles was okay to travel, saving us lots of time. One thing that became obvious while traveling southern Utah, the roads follow the rivers. And where there are rivers, there are fields of alfalfa and cows. They have massive irrigation rigs to water the alfalfa, and apparently it pays well. Large homes out in the middle of nowhere, and families that have been there since settlement days. That, and working for the government with the various forests, national monuments and parks, and tourist visitors, that's about it for making a living, and the tourist season is seasonal. When most of the places we visit are 6,000 feet or higher, winter comes early and stays longer. We call this panoramic viewpoint. I'm not sure why. Not much of a view. Unless you turn back and look this way. We've been following those cliffs for the last 10 miles. And we're not even into the good part of the park yet. Capital Reef. When we arrived at Capital Reef, they were doing road work on the 7.9 mile scenic route we had planned to take. So we took a drive down Fremont River and checked out some petroglyphs on the side of the road and got a good view of Capitol Dome. So we barely scratched the surface of Capital Reef. There are few places to stay locally and the park is enormous. Stepping back in time briefly, in 1997, Art Baumgarth and I got drawn for Unit 12B on the North Kaibab. There are no to maybe half a dozen resident deer all year, but when the snows hit Utah, the mule deer migrate down to this area by the thousands. Early one morning, I was sitting in a tree stand overlooking a waterhole in total darkness. Temperature was about 25 degrees but calm. As daylight approached, it lit up Capitol Dome and all the Escalante steps going into Utah. I could see all the color distinctions in the rocks, and it was worth the freezing cold to experience something few others would ever get to experience. And from the other end, at the end of the 18-mile drive in Bryce, on a clear day, you can see the San Francisco Peaks by Flagstaff 150 miles away. When I was planning our trip, I searched for rooms in Capital Reef for our second or third night. The only thing that popped up was a house for $1,500 a night. Capital Reef is out in the middle of nowhere, and the little towns east and west of it have very limited space. So if you plan to go, get your reservations made well in advance. This is the portion of Capital Reef that we actually got to see, but it is much, much bigger. as you can see. On our drive back to Tropic, we took Highway 12 through the Dixie National Forest and experienced some high altitude scenery. There were several viewpoints off to the east, and when we got back to Tropic, we still had time to go to Bryce for sunsets.
Even.
We went up to Capital Reef today, and it's on the other side of all of that. What, 115, 120 miles, I think. We drove up there around this way, so we saw a lot of country today. And I'll tell you what, Bryce is not the only pretty place here. There's just lots of beautiful country.
Pretty at sunrise.
Yeah, it'd be nice if it was all lit up, that's for sure. Well, let's go down here and see what this looks like. Some incredible views, man. Coming back today on that Highway 12. I'll bet there was, if there was 5, there was 10 scenic pull-offs. This is what I was expecting to see. I'm glad we made this trip out here. And this one's called Bryce Point, right?
Yes.
Goes from white to red. Man, that's incredible. Okay, I got to get a picture of that. Well, we lost our sunlight on it, but this is definitely one of the prettiest spots we've seen so far.
Cloud might move.
Yeah, looks like snow on the top of it down here,
Bunch of people's hats.
but it's just old.
How many hats are over the edge?
Oh, it probably blew off.
I don't know where Peekaboo is, but it must be close because the connector is not there.
That's no.
There was a sign. That Peekaboo stands for you.
Yeah, it's gonna be roadkill if you don't pick it up.